Hello, welcome to another speed build. Today we're doing a rather long one. It's about like 26 minutes, 24 minutes. I don't know, somewhere thereabouts, 25. I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to talk for 25 minutes, but we're gonna try. Worst case scenario, I'll just like stop at some point and then you guys will have some nice tunes to listen to while you watch the rest of it if I don't have 25 minutes of verbiage, words, I don't know, whatever, things to say to you. How's everyone doing? How's COVID treating everyone? I hope that everyone is safe and healthy and staying inside to the best of their abilities. I don't know. I have been okay. I've been really lucky that I've been able to be at my parents' since they live in the middle of nowhere. So, minimal contact with other people and very low likelihood that I or any of us will be getting COVID. So that's nice. But it's a lot. It's very isolating, certainly. My company has, my team at the company that I work at, has just sent me an invite, actually, like about a half hour before I'm recording this, being like a pandemic discussion or something like that, where we get to like talk about how we're doing, which I think is kind of nice. I don't know. I'm definitely of the opinion that if any good thing is to come out of this, it is that there's a lot more awareness about and like okayness really about talking about mental health and not being mentally okay, because everyone feels really isolated, obviously, right now. So it's more socially acceptable to be like, yeah, I'm not good mentally. So I think that's good. I like that there's a separation of like work and life, where like at work I can be one person and put together and have that space to not feel like I need to be vulnerable, and then in my life with people that I'm close to, don't have to be put together and I have a space where I can be vulnerable, so it kind of is not my favorite to feel like I should be talking about how I feel to people that I want to be professional with. I don't know. It's definitely not, my team is lovely, so it's definitely not going to be a space where I'm going to feel like forced to talk about things necessarily. I think it's also going to be a lot more talking about like strategies that have helped people like work from home, and it'll still be more like work focused and rather than like mental health focused, so I don't think that'll be that big of a deal, but I still definitely do kind of like that there's more of a separation. I mean, there was more of a separation before the pandemic, but yeah, anyways, I'm sure that's why you guys all have come to watch some Sims builds, and even if you're watching this after the pandemic, maybe this is like not even related. I haven't even talked about what we're building. We're building a 70s inspired sim house, or yeah, you can see that it's Sims, but it's 70s inspired. I had a whole lot of fun making this. It's for a family that I also made with my mother. I started making it on my own, and then I was researching a lot on like 70s clothing and like accessories and hairstyles and like trends and stuff, and then I was like, wait, like my mom was alive during the 70s, like I should just ask her like what she thinks, or like at least have her look at it. So she came down after I'd done some of the Sims for it and helped me with the rest of their decoration. I say decoration, but like the rest of their outfits and stuff like that. And boy, was it a time. It is very colorful, and like my eyes honestly hurt after all of the research that I did into the 70s, especially like kitchens. We haven't gone to the kitchen yet, but oh boy, the kitchens at the time had this awful like orange yellow color that my mother said was called harvest gold, and it's a choice, it's a color. As someone whose favorite color is orange, I would never make my kitchen like this willingly. I didn't really go all out with the orange for their kitchen. I wanted it to kind of be still sort of nice and not hurt your eyes so much, but still be like factually or like periodly, I guess, accurate. So it was like a balance that I tried to strike between the two. I did go with a garish blue tile because there were also a lot of blue kitchens as well, and just a lot of clashing happening. Like, I feel like this is like the 70s in terms of the styling of furniture and architecture and like wallpaper and stuff like that. It's like an 8-year-old kid like was able to design her dream dollhouse, and like, you know, like how you make everything matching in like a dollhouse, and then they made that into like a real life house. They just like replicated it. They didn't even, yeah. So that's my thought process there. But yeah, it's time. I also saw a lot of this green color in kitchens along with the gold, and it's really hard to find Sims wallpapers that like work, trying to like recreate like real styles in real time and stuff like that. So yeah, I ended up settling on this like parenthood tile that I'm like pretty pleased with, but it's still not like 100% representative, so it could have been better, but I think it worked out okay with what we were going for. 70s also had a lot of like very closed off spaces, so the fact that this dining room I ended up making it an open like kitchen dining room situation is atypical. I'm aware of that, but I think I do still want the people living here to be living in like the modern era, and even though I want to make a lot of the houses on the street very like 70s, 50s, 60s inspired, I still would like for it to be like they were built then, and then the furnishing doesn't necessarily have to be that way. In this case, so the family that I made for this is mother and father, and they have 3 children, and the parents are like very into the 70s, and it's their like decision to keep the house like this and to maintain the decor of like, I guess, their parents probably, or like probably like their parents maybe, because their kids are like not that old, so they have a teenage daughter and then twin boys who are children, and so yeah, so they're really into the 70s. I feel like the teenage daughter, she actually looks quite a bit like her mother, and I feel like she tries to like rebel somewhat, not entirely rebel, but like she tries to be an individual and like not be influenced by her mother's like tastes, but it's one of those cases where like you try to be the opposite of someone and then you just become them. So I had a lot of fun decorating her as well to make her kind of more like she was trying to be the opposite of her mom, but really just if you look below the surface is like kind of the same. But yeah, the daughter is a teenager, and she is in the band that I had. I'd made another house in Oasis Springs with like a single father and he's partial custody of his son, and they like play. His son is part of a band, and they play in his garage, in his father's garage. So she's part of that band as well. She plays the piano. So I gave her a piano in the den that I made downstairs for her. So that's her deal. She has a little bit of like a darker aesthetic sort of to her. I gave her a bowler hat, and I'm just very pleased about that. I seldom give my Sims hats, but they look so good in them. I don't know why I don't do it. I also seldom wear hats, even though I look really good in them, so maybe it's just like I'm projecting. I don't know, I always forget about like hats as an accessory. I think especially now that it's summer and I have long hair, like wearing a hat is kind of like insult to injury. Like I don't want to be hotter than I already am outside in the summer. Although it's good to protect yourself from to have shade from the sun and stuff like that, certainly, for like if you wanted to get like a brimmed hat or something. But I'm thinking more like decorative, fun, cute hats. But yeah. So in terms of the 70s, there was a lot of these monochromatic, like matchy rooms, as I was saying earlier, about how it's kind of like you had a kid and he like has a dollhouse and just decides like how he wants his furniture, and then you just make that in real life. But yeah, I was seeing a lot of, again, like avocado, green, and gold and also like blue, like that blue that I had before bathrooms. So I was trying to do a blue one here based off of like a photo that I'd seen online, but then it didn't really match the color scheme of the rest of the house. And one thing that I really like to do with my houses and apartments and just builds in general is have it look like the same person did all of the like decorative choices, made all the decorative choices really. When you like zoom out, like have it look cohesive. And while there is blue tile in the kitchen, there wasn't a whole lot of like blue elsewhere in the house, and like these bluer tones I didn't really carry through, so I do end up going with like a black bathroom and give it more of like this harvest gold, avocado green kind of gross awful tile which I thought was a decent compromise. Like, it's still monochromatic, but it's not as disgusting of a color in terms of like the plumbing, and then the wallpaper is true to the times, so you still get that gross harvest gold situation. But yeah, so this is the teenager's bedroom. She has the biggest room in the house, actually. It's even bigger than the master, but the master has an ensuite, so you know, there's that. But I was seeing a lot of this exact style of bed is like perfect for the 70s. I was seeing a lot of it, and actually same for the kids' rooms. They were also kind of similar, but we don't have like a matching bed that also like has this kind of headboard for like a single bed, so I had to do something else for the kids' rooms, but that's okay. There are a lot of things that I was discovering that were lacking actually in the Sims 4 build mode, like just sort of like simple things like that, like simple bed. We don't have a lot of like simple beds, we don't have a lot of like simple couches. They're all very stylized, and it works if you're trying to do something stylized like this, but sometimes it's interesting. Like, we do have a single simple couch, and that's good. Well, like we have like two, I guess. One of them is unlocked with I think the tech guru career, but you can just do a cheat to unlock it, so that's fine. I wanted to do this iron post bed at first, because that was like my preconception of what was really popular in the 70s, but then I looked it up and there actually seemed like there were many more like wooden bed posts rather than iron. So I don't know where I'm getting that from, but it didn't seem to be what the internet told me. So this is when I decided to make a basement for this house, and I am so glad that I made this decision. When my mom came down to help me with making the Sims for this house, I had started making the house, but I was like at a point with it where I wasn't emotionally attached to the people living there, so it didn't have like a whole lot of personality yet. And she was talking about how when she went to visit her cousins, they had like a den, and they had a beaded curtain like going down into the den, and she thought it was the coolest thing ever, and I was like, that is the coolest thing ever, so I included that as well here. So yeah, I remember that they made beaded curtains, either they made a resurgence or I just suddenly became really into them in like the early 2000s, or like mid 2000s. I just remember being a really big fan of beaded curtains, and we had some actually in our basement at one point, because we have an area of the basement that's kind of like has a lower ceiling, so you can attach things to the part where like the ceiling drops down a bit. And we had beaded curtains attached there. So this was really cool, and I probably will use it in the future actually. We don't have an upright piano in The Sims 4, just in like any packs. We have this like keyboard, electronic keyboard, but we don't have just like an upright piano that isn't the huge like grand piano. But someone had made like a functional like upright piano looking thing with the cats and dogs side tables and like a music stand from, I think, Vampire stuff or something. I don't know, it looked really good, but I didn't, and I was gonna put it down here because I was thinking like, why wouldn't the teenager just bring her piano upstairs into her bedroom? But I ended up deciding that it was like a music space for her to also write music, so I gave her a desk as well, and she can also do her homework there. And I really liked this swatch on the electric keyboard, so I kept it. But yeah, that was my thought. I also thought it's possible that like, well, no, I was gonna say it's possible that like she doesn't have the plugs to have like a keyboard as well in her room, because she just has like plugs near her bed for like the lamps or something, for the lights by her bedside. because it is true that a lot of these older houses had much fewer like wall outlets. My parents' house actually is probably built in like the 70s or like late 60s, and the wall outlets are in really weird spots, and we have so many extension cords in this house, mostly because the wall outlets are like in the most inconvenient spots, so you have to like have an extension cord that's like going across the room to where you would actually put like a desk or something. But yeah, at the time it was much more just like lights rather than like a desk with a computer and stuff like that, so makes sense. But yeah, so I was thinking that that's why maybe she has her keyboard downstairs. I do actually give this family a computer. It's like a really old-timey computer, and I love it. But yeah, I was just thinking like the parents, if they are genuinely so obsessed with the 70s, like maybe they really don't even like want to acknowledge the current like modern technology. I don't know, it doesn't have to be quite that extreme, but I don't think that they're that way with their kids. Like I think that they're not that ridiculous, but I think like personally like they would much rather be living in the 70s. Yeah, the mother that I made for this, she's very into cooking and like the fashion of the 70s as well, like outfits and stuff like that, and I think, did I decide gardening? I think I decided she's really into gardening as well, so gardening and cooking, and I don't know what I want her job to be. She might be a housewife, but I might also give her a job. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But the husband, I've decided he is probably going to be like a businessman, and which is really a very exciting choice on my part. That's always like what I do for like just like bland, stereotypical like sim that I don't really know like what job to do. I'm like, oh, they're in business career, it's fine. But no, I think that he like very much tries to be like the perfect like suburban 70s like dad or whatever. But in my lore, he is closeted, and I don't know if he's homosexual or bisexual, but definitely into men as well as women, if not exclusively men. I don't know, I think he might be bisexual. I feel like whatever, for whatever reason he's not out about his sexuality. So he has like, I gave him some like magazines with men's faces on them in his office, because you know, why not? I don't know, I just wanted to give him a little bit of a backstory, a little bit of lore, care about him a little bit more. But yeah, he mostly spends his time in the office, like either working from home or yeah, that's about it. Working from home or maybe having like illicit affairs. I don't know. I don't know if he's like unfaithful or not. Maybe he's just closeted but not unfaithful. We don't know. You know, we don't. If we want to like him, I guess we'll say he's not unfaithful. But yeah, he should probably like come out to his wife. But anyways, so up here I am working on the master bedroom now. Speaking of infidelity and marriage, it's a lot. I initially had it a lot like more neutral compared to the rest of the house, but then I was like, that doesn't make sense given like how colorful the rest of the house is, if they are the ones who whose styles this house is based off, like their bedroom should not be the one that's like neutral and fine. So I did eventually make it this like awful yellow and red flower situation, and the wood tone in there doesn't even match, but like that's okay, that's on brand with the rest of this house, honestly. I didn't even talk about the basement as I was working on it. So the twin boys, I was thinking that like, this is kind of Stranger Things inspired, but it's fine. I was thinking that they're very like into card games, and they have like some friends that they invite over and play card games with. So I gave them the card table. They can also play like Don't Wake the Llama on it if they want as well. But I'm gonna add them to a club. I think both of them. I was initially gonna just do one and have them be like very different and like not really in the same social circles, but I think that even though they are very different, I want them to be like good pals. But one of them I was thinking is much more into like school and science and stuff like that, whereas the other one is very into like just being very playful and like sporty and outgoing and socializing and stuff like that, which is like, you know, the classic two different personalities that your Sims can have, or 2 out of 3 really. You can also have like creative Sims that are artsy. I kind of wish that we had more options for our kids in The Sims to be like not just like creative or like motor skill or athletic or whatever, or like school focused or loquacious, you know? Like I feel like kids are into way more than just those 4 things. But one can always add their own lore in their head if they want. But yeah, so I put in the basement an area for them to have their friends over, to play cards, and then the other half of the basement I kind of like sectioned off for their older sister, for her to like practice music and maybe write music or just like study. I gave her a desk as well, so she has space to do both. Oh my god, this mirror gave me such a headache, but I'm so glad that I followed through with it, because I really love having that light all the way around the mirror. That was a very maybe it's more 60s than 70s, but it's definitely an older trend, and I am very happy with it. It looks like it would just blind you, and that's what I'm here for, just being blinded. But yeah, I was really pleased with this house, actually. I'm excited for its existence. Like, it already exists, but I'm really excited that it does. I like how the color scheme came together. I love how awful it is. Like, it's purposefully awful, I promise. But I think it would be really fun to play in, and I think the characters, like the family, would be really fun to play with as well. I hope that the father, like, you know, is able to like come out and have a good life. I don't know, it's kind of sad. I wonder, or if he'll just stay closeted forever and like want to be a good parent to his children. I don't know. I was imagining here in the basement initially. Sorry, that was like really sad. I didn't mean for that to be so sad. But anyways, I was imagining in the basement originally that the father's just like, I don't really care how messy the basement is as long as there's a walkway to my office, like whatever. So initially I did have just like a walkway to his office, and then I decided that I wanted one of the boys to be really into science and stuff, and since I still want this to be playable a lot, and so if you do want to finish like the mental aspiration for the kid, he does need like a little science table to use, so I did give him one. Oh, I didn't give them monkey bars. Okay, but it's okay, because there'll be like a playground somewhere. I will make a playground. It'll be okay. They'll go to the playground. I did put a swing set though in the backyard. This backyard gave me so much trouble though as well. I really wanted to have like an above ground pool. That was like on my priority list for this backyard, because something about above ground pools, just, I don't know, the wife that I made for this family and mother that I made for this family seemed like she would be the kind of person to have an above ground pool. So I don't know what that means. It's not like a bad or good thing. It just felt like it was something that she would get. So I tried to size up the toddler pool and see if that was still functional, but it wasn't. I did get a tester sim here eventually to try it out, but it's not functional, and I'm so sad because it looks really good. Like, it looks pretty good. And even if it like looked weird for them to like lay in but worked, I would have been fine with that, but it just didn't even work. So I tried to make one here. You'll see me attempting very furiously to figure out how I want this to look and to make it look like it's all connected and like but in the end, unfortunately, it doesn't work out. Sorry, spoiler alert, but it's not good. It doesn't work out. Especially with the ladder. I was so excited because of the ladder. I was like, oh, this might look okay, like maybe it'll be good, but no, you can't do it. It doesn't. Just give up. Please, pass me, give up. It's not gonna work. I don't know. But yeah, I think that what I ended up doing with this area in the end does, like, I'm happy with it. So this was when I decided that she definitely is going to be into gardening, so I gave her like a whole gardening area over here. There's some water balloons, so in the summer if you want, you can like have the kids have like water balloon fights and all that. So yeah, this backyard area was definitely a time and a half for me to work on. I don't know why, I just had a lot of trouble, but I did decide that the mother was going to be really into gardening, so I gave her like a garden, and then next to it I wanted to make like a bike shed, but of course you can't really have like a smaller like house kind of situation. But I found this thing which I know I've never used from Jungle Living, and it's actually perfect if you just like put it underground, like move it all the way up to above ground, and then like get some light in there so that it doesn't do like weird lighting glitches. It looks so good. I am amazed. I'm gonna use that also for like tree houses probably in the future. Like I feel like it would be a really good base for a tree house as well. But yeah, like it's 10 out of 10. I'm telling you, it's a great item. I don't know why I've never used it. Even like sized down, I bet it would be really good. Sized up, like I don't know why I haven't used this item, but I gotta use it more. I've decided it's my new favorite item in The Sims, or it's my new most underrated item in The Sims. But over here, I do end up giving them an entertaining space because I feel like the mother especially is like very big into entertaining. So it's just like a little patio space, so it's nothing too fancy, but I think it suits them. And I love the red grill. I never get to use the red grill, especially those bright colors. I did give the teenage girl a lava lamp. I discovered that I hadn't, and I had heart failure, but it's all good. And that's about it, and that's the end of the build. So I hope that you enjoyed, and I can't believe that I was able to talk at you for 24 minutes and you were able to listen and have stayed here for that long. So props to you. Thank you. I hope that you have a good day and stay safe. Bye.